A company is transforming tons of storm-damaged trees, yard waste, and even spoiled food into compost, mulch, and topsoil, keeping it out of the landfills.
Hey, you must be Kevin.
I am Kevin. Nice to meet you, Kyle.
Good to meet you.
Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming to Missouri Organic.
Yeah, excited to see what you guys do. What do you make from all your wood products here?
Yeah, so basically we take in green waste, so brush, grass, and leaves. We make mulch, compost, topsoil and soil mixes, and we also create lumber too. So, we have a side business called the Urban Lumber Company that actually takes the larger logs and actually makes slab lumber.
And why not just put all this in a landfill?
Well, when this organic waste like this starts to break down, it creates methane gas, obviously. And, the methane gas is harmful for the atmosphere. It creates CO2 and methane and creates global warming. So ultimately, trying to keep this stuff out of the landfill is really the goal. And then what happens is we make it into products. So we've got mulches and compost that then go back in to create soil health and actually break down and microbes get into the soil and actually creates better soil. So better water retention, CO2 sequestering and things like that. So it really is the ultimate recycling. I mean, you're taking a material that would have caused the problem in a landfill and then turn that right back into a product that's actually going to help the environment versus hurt it.
Right, very cool.
Well, so basically what we do here is we take in brush, which is these kind of stuff here behind us. Basically, we contract with tree trimmers and landscapers. We also do municipalities through the area that pick up curbside. They also bring in storm damage and stuff like that. So, so basically what we do is we take that material in and we grind it up and we make mulch out of it.
So what is this here? Is this your finished product?
Yeah, so this is our Premium One mulch. This is the basis of all the mulch that we sell, whether it's brown, black, or red. This Premium One, this natural mulch, comes from a very coarse ground material. The brush that you saw earlier goes through the grinder, goes through this machine, goes through another grinder, and then on the screening deck. The screening deck separates coarse and fines, and then this, obviously, this is the good material that we're selling.
So what happens with these big guys?
So when we get big, long, straight pieces like this, we turn these into lumber. So nothing goes to waste. This material will go down to Urban Lumber Company and will get sawed up into making slab wood like bars and tables and furniture. And then any waste that they have actually comes back to this facility and we actually make mulch out of it. So nothing we do goes to waste.
So none of these are coming out of pristine forests?
No, here in the city, Kansas City, we've got thousands of acres of parkways and parklands and just lots of trees. I mean, it's one of the biggest urban forests in the nation. So we've always got these trees that are constantly coming down, either via ice storms or wind storms. We are not out there harvesting trees.
Right. So Urban Lumber is part of this operation?
Urban Lumber is part of this operation too.
Cool. Can we go check it out?
Absolutely. Let's take a look.
Awesome. Hey Tim, good to meet
Kyle.
you.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I'm glad to show you around our showroom. This is the Urban Lumber Company showroom, and inside the showroom we have all sorts of different kinds of local species of wood that we have taken from the waste stream. So this is all logs or tree parts that came from, that weren't cut down for like a commercial lumber mill, but were cut down for whatever reason, development or insect or whatever. And they're in the waste stream, so they're going to be ground up and turned into mulch. And we take them out of the waste stream, saw them up, and make beautiful lumber out of it. And it's kind of fun for a couple of reasons. Number one, we get beautiful lumber, but number two, because these weren't commercially grown, they're wild, and people love the wild grain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you can see, this is hackberry. It grows all over the city, and we get incredible spalting and variegation in it, and people come in and think it's a zebra wood from somewhere else, a different continent, and it's all like in our backyard. For example, this board came from Kansas City Parks and Rec. It's all a part of a big log. You can see they all came from, this is the log number, and it probably came down from a storm when the parks dealt with 20 or 30 trees that are down. We'll get a call, they'll bring them to us, and we'll saw them up and make great lumber for it.
It's really cool as this stuff's not actually coming from forests.
Yeah, it's a mind-blowing to think about all of the city trees going to waste. In fact, there's a statistic that of our nation's commercial timberland, there's an amount equal to 25% in the cities that just goes to waste. And so the urban wood movement, which is kind of a thing, takes advantage of all that wood that was previously not used and makes beautiful products, and people love it because they know where it came from.
So Tim, what are the various markings on all these?
Well, that lets us know where they came from. The way that we work is people will bring logs in from different parts of the town. So, for example, the AI came from the Kansas City Art Institute. They're building a new dorm, and they took down a bunch of trees.
Cool.
So we got those logs. The KC logs came from Kansas City Parks and Rec. Those are ash. They came down from Pest, the emerald ash borer. And then there's also some white oak that came down from a park renovation. After they're sawn, you know, the good stuff will go in the dry pile. Everything that's left over from the sawing process will go in our scrap pile. And the great thing about that is that Kevin will come down and scoop it all up and turn it into mulch, so nothing gets wasted.
Man, Tim, thanks for having us out here. This is too cool.
Thanks for coming out. You know, I love talking about it. I love showing people around, and I love spreading the word. It's a great resource that I hate seeing go to waste, and so it's fantastic when people can take advantage of it, and I love helping along the way.
Have you ever wondered what happens to food that is not consumed? Well, here in the United States, 1.3 billion tons of food is deposited into landfills annually. Some supermarkets across the nation are deciding to employ a sustainable practice to turn waste into life. Let's return with Kyle to find out more.
So Kyle, here's where it happens. This is a sample of what we get in, about 300 tons of food waste every week. This comes from industrial food processors, grocery stores, restaurants, schools. All this material gets collected and then gets composted here. And we figure that's only about between 5 and 10% of the waste stream that's actually generated in Kansas City to be able to compost.
That's incredible.
So basically what's happened here is this material is coming from a grocery store, but it's went to the local food bank first. So the food bank then has separated what they can distribute, and then they feed people with it, and then we get whatever they can. So this material that's coming here has already been culled to be able to feed people, and then actually we'll make compost out of it second. So Kyle, here's the problem with this, is that this melon, even though it's been separated at the source, somebody threw this in there with this packaging. This packaging becomes an issue for us because we have to decide whether we're going to take it out in the beginning of the process or after the material's composted. For this material to end up in a landfill is a total waste, because not only have you lost the energy and all the time and the money that went into it to make it, you're creating methane gases. So, which creates CO2 and global warming and all the other issues that come along with it. So with it being here, at least we can capture that, we can compost it, then we can put it back in as a compost and a soil amendment, which can help grow more food. And eventually what you're doing is you're just basically creating this circle where it's, you know, it's farm to table to compost, back to farm to table again.
It actually serves a purpose.
Absolutely. And when it comes to compost, we'll go back and take a look at the finished product, and we'll talk to Stan, our compost expert.
Great, let's do it.
All right. These windrows maintain a temperature of around 150 to 160 degrees. And that's basically from the microbes doing all the work in there, and they're excited and they're eating and they're moving. And the reason that we want that to happen is because we want to sterilize the row. We want to get rid of the salmonella and E. coli and weed seeds also. So in that process of reaching 160 degrees, that's killing those microbes. So this is obviously the problem with the plastic. I mean, this has been in this windrow for 45 days. It didn't break down. So this is going to have to actually be physically touched and pulled out of the compost so that we can sell it. And that will happen at the picking station.
It slows down the whole process.
It slows down the whole process, costs a lot of money. This stuff is in our rivers, in our oceans, in our compost piles. I mean, it's everywhere. And people really need to be careful on where they're doing with this. And if they're going to recycle it, make sure they put it in the right container. Yeah. So this is actually a problem that has even created a mountain. So this is the material that gets screened out of the process at the end. So the compost process goes on for so long, and then we actually screen this material out. Now this material will end up going back into the process over and over again, and as you can see with the plastic that's in it, that plastic continues to go through the process time and time again. So what you're looking at is you're looking at about 6, 7, 8 years of contamination buildup.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. Good to meet you. Stan Slaughter.
Stan, you must be Stan the compost man.
So they tell me. I've been playing in the dirt for a lot of years.
Cool. So what do we got going on here?
Well, we got a beautiful pile of our finished compost, and this is our Nature Wise. This is the basic compost we use in our soil mixes and garden mixes. This compost is rich and crumbly and sweet smelling. It'll hold 8 times its weight in water. It controls erosion. It's been digested by a zillion, this is a technical term, a zillion bacteria, and the skins of those bugs are perfect plant food. It's a cycle of life. This waste could have made methane gas in the landfill, could have caused all kinds of problems, water contamination, and now it's going to go back out into nature, feed plants, build soil quality, and probably put some more carbon into the soil instead of creating the problem. Compost is the answer.
Well, Kevin, Stan, thank you guys so much for having us out today. I've learned a ton.
It's quite a process, isn't it?
Oh, it's very impressive.
Well, we appreciate you coming out and helping us spread the word about organics, trying to keep food waste out of landfills. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely, you guys are doing good stuff here.
You spread the word, we'll spread the compost.
Deal.
Sounds great.